as I start talking, I'm already muted. You'd think after 4 years I would have figured this out. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Schaefer. I am the Associate Director for Graduate Student Success and Professional Development with the Graduate School here at UTSA. And I am happy to welcome all of you to your first semester of your master's program. So on behalf of my team here in the graduate school, the graduate school staff, our faculty, students, and administrators, welcome to the University of Texas at San Antonio, and go Runners. So I'm hoping that this will be a very informative entry point for you as you are getting ready to start your master's program next Tuesday. Remember, Monday is a holiday. And so we're going to be talking with some of my colleagues, some people from campus services across campus, and also to some alumni to give their perspectives on how to be successful in graduate school. So hopefully you can see my screen. A couple of housekeeping items. One is you will not be able to turn on your camera. You will also not be able to ask questions verbally. You can ask questions. I would encourage you to use the Q&A function, which you should see at the bottom of your screen, possibly the top of your screen, depending on your computer. You can address your questions there. Of course, we will try to get to all of your questions, but I will be sending out a follow-up email after this program has concluded with links to just about everything we're going to be talking about today, which will also answer a lot of the general questions you have about UTSA getting started. And also there'll be a link to this video on the Graduate School YouTube channel. So that will also be included in the email, so you can go back to it at any time. I'll remind you of this also at the end. If you have general questions, I will try to address those before we get to the couple panels who'll be speaking to you or answering your questions, such as parking and student IDs and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll catch everyone with those very general questions. For those type of questions, registration, student IDs, library services, well-being services, parking, that's going to be we'll be able to answer those questions with a group panel at noon, approximately at noon. So if you can hold those questions and specifically address your questions to what's being talked about currently as we start moving through the program. So, and I will incorporate a couple breaks. I know people, it's kind of chilly outside. You may want to refill your coffee, tea, soda, water, or make a run to the facilities. So I will incorporate a couple breaks, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes each, and so that we're not just running 2 hours straight through. So with that all said, let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about what I like to call first things first, which is the Rowdy Ready checklist. You should have received this as an attachment in the email that I was sending you all leading up to today. But just as a reminder, that Rowdy Ready checklist is in the email that I've sent you. I will also send you another copy in my follow-up email just to make sure you have it. But just some of the most frequently asked questions that we get during orientation, I did want to touch on. So first of all, getting your UTSA ID. You can do this, of course, in person, or if you choose, you can do it virtually. That will be as part of one of the links that I send out to you. So you'll have a link to the website, and which would give you locations if you want to pick it up in person, or instructions on how to order your ID online. Now, usually the questions we get is, do I need my ID for the first by the first day of class? No, we do encourage you to get it because you will need it to use some services on campus, such as the rec center. I believe they also ask for your IDs in the library if you're utilizing services. And it gives you or oftentimes it'll get you discounts around the city of San Antonio. And so we do recommend that you have your ID on hand, but you do not have to have it to step foot on campus. Getting your parking permit, this is probably the most frequently asked questions are about parking, which understandably, we have now a number of campuses that you may be parking at, whether that be the main 1604 campus, the downtown campus, the oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. The Southwest School of Art campus, there we go, and or the data science campus. So understandably, you're going to have a lot of questions about parking, and of course, we will get to as many of those questions as possible. But just to get you started, you need to order your parking permit online. You cannot order a parking permit in person on campus. If you have not done this yet, and knowing that classes are starting on Tuesday, you can still order it, but you do need to allow anywhere from, I believe, 3 to 5 business days, possibly 7, to arrive to you. And you can print off a temporary parking permit that you can place on your dash. So a couple things. A couple other frequently asked questions about parking to kind of get those out of the way are if I have classes at the downtown campus or the main campus, do I use the same parking permits? The answer is yes. There are general permits. Which is the C permit, which is the general surface parking permit, and that will take care of you at the main or downtown campus and student parking only. And then there are obviously upgrades. So there's or other options such as Twilight. If you know you're only going to be on campus in the evenings, you can do that. You can order a Twilight parking permit, which is a little less expensive, but it does not allow you to park on campus for free during the daytime hours. And then, of course, there is, if you choose to upgrade to a parking garage, there are specific parking passes for the parking garages at the main campus, for which there are 3, and for the downtown campus, which there is 1. So there are specific parking permits for each of the garages. If you think that, well, I'm not only going to be on campus once or twice a week just for class. I'd like to get as close to the academic buildings as possible. You do have the option to pay by the hour for the parking garages as well. One of the 4 you can choose to pay to park, and so that's another option for you. So let's move on. And of course, I'm sure there will be other questions about parking and ID cards, and we'll get to those with our student services panel at noon. One Stop, of course, is for your financial aid enrollment and admissions. You can access a lot of the One Stop capabilities through your ASAP account, which I'll talk about in a moment. If you haven't done that already, you'll definitely want to become familiar. And I do apologize. My light's automatic in my office. I do have other lights, so hopefully you can still see me. So yeah, you want to make sure you can go to One Stop in person. They have a location here on the main campus in the John Peace Library on the first floor, or you can, of course, contact them going to their website or emailing any of, I believe there's an email, onestop@utsa.edu. Checking your student email Now, if you're like me, you have numerous emails already. You have a possibly a personal email, maybe something you use for uh, bill paying or more a little more professional. Then you may have a work email, and now the university is saying, okay, now we need you to utilize another email address. And I know it may seem cumbersome, but the my.utsa.edu email address is how the university will be primarily contacting you. They will not contact you to your Gmail, your Yahoo, your Hotmail, whatever you happen to have. The university, due to policy and regulations, has to contact you to your my.utsa.edu. So all communications, whether it be from the graduate school, from us, or whether it be from financial aid or admissions, will all go to this email address. So you do need to make sure, I would suggest at least check it once a week, go through it, see if there's anything pertinent to you, and then move on. Technology, of course, is, and I forgot to change this again. I always say I'm going to change it from semester to semester, and then months pass and I forget. Uh, ASAP, not Blackboard, but ASAP is your student account where you can enroll for classes virtually. You can pay outstanding balances. You can check grades. You can download software. Lots of options on ASAP. Definitely become familiar with that. Air Rowdy is our campus-wide Wi-Fi service, and it'll give you a prompt whether you're utilizing a laptop, smartphone, or tablet. It will prompt you. Air Rowdy will prompt you to get onto the Wi-Fi network, and they're consistently doing upgrades to the network. It's fairly strong all around all the campuses. And so to log in, you simply use your ABC123 and your passphrase. And then, of course, there are Zoom opportunities if if your faculty member chooses to use Zoom for any virtual or hybrid classroom experiences. But back to Blackboard. So they no longer use Blackboard, it's now Canva. And you can link to that off of the UTSA website. If you haven't looked already, this is where a lot of times your professors will be communicating with you, whether it be assignments or even possibly grades, online chat functions, pre-recorded videos, pre-recorded sessions. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And again, you can, off the main UTSA website, you can link to that. The final thing I want to mention to you as part of your Rowdy Ready checklist is the department or college orientations. Not all colleges and departments do an orientation specifically for their students in the spring semester or for starting the spring semester, but that may be a possibility. So again, going back to checking your emails, you will want to check to see if if your department or college has contacted you for an in-person or virtual orientation, where they'll dive in a little more deeply to the academic side, to your programs, where you may also get to meet faculty, other students, etc. So you will want to be on the lookout for that. Sometimes orientations for the departments or colleges do actually start out or are held after the start of the semester. So just keep that in mind. We do encourage you, meaning not just UTSA, but the graduate school, to follow us on social media. You can search for us, and I probably need to get with the times and put QR codes for each one of those, maybe for next time. But we do encourage you to follow us on social media. Facebook is UTSA The Graduate School. On Twitter, now known as X, it is at UTSA Grad School. Instagram is UTSA The Graduate School. YouTube, which we do have a YouTube channel, as I mentioned, that's where this recording will be posted, is UTSA Graduate School. And then we do have a LinkedIn group which is UTSA, the graduate school. The items that are most used by us is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Of course, YouTube gets all of our recordings, all of our special sessions for students will go up on our YouTube channel. Even if the session is scheduled in person, we do offer a hybrid option. That session is recorded and placed up on the YouTube channel. For any special events, any happenings, any programming, any socials, networking, special events around the campus, all of those, our communications manager is really great about posting regularly on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, including stories. So I do encourage you to, while I'm talking, just pick up your phone, whichever one you happen to use the most, hop on and start following us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And of course, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's get into the nitty gritty, which is navigating your career in and out of the classroom. And I just need to make sure that I am keeping up with time. Yeah, I'm a little behind, but I'll catch up. Okay, so a couple things I did want to discuss with you. These are specifically programming and opportunities that are offered by the graduate school. So first is we do have a professional development and student success. That is part of the team that I am on. We have 3 staff members that work on this team, and we do offer every semester what we call PCD sessions, which is professional and career development programs. Anything that aligns with professionally developing a master's, doctoral, or postdoc, which is a postdoctoral fellow. We do offer every semester, including mentorship programs and a couple special programs that I'll go into a little bit later. In line with that, we also offer Career Pathways guest speaker series where we will bring back alumni or request like national guest speakers to talk about specific types of career opportunities for you, variety of type of career opportunities for you. Excuse me. We also have our micro-credentialing badges, which are linked to the majority of our programming, whether that be the professional career development / career pathways, or any of the other sessions that you might attend. All of those link up to professional and career development badges for you. And so be on the lookout for those. Our 3MT is held in the fall semester. If you're not familiar with that, our 3MT stands for the 3-minute thesis, where master's and doctoral students compete against each other, and you present your research or special project in 3 minutes or less to a panel of judges and to a room of spectators. And there are financial awards available. Top award for first place is a $1,200 award stipend that is provided to students. And then we have a second, third, and People's Choice Award as well. So encourage you, since by that point you'll be in your second or third semester. By the time next fall rolls around, you'll be well into your research or research project, whatever you happen to be doing. And so we encourage you to keep an eye out for the 3MT, get involved. We do a training. If you have issues like a lot of us have about getting up in front of a group of people and speaking publicly, call that public speaking anxiety. We go through all those types of things with a boot camp. Boot camp is not prescribed by the 3MT international program, but it's something that UTSA implemented to make sure that our students are prepared to enter the competition. And so it's in a sense demystifying the program. And then finally, in regards to some of the items on this slide is our grad space. So we do have a space available for grad students. where you can get free poster printing. So if you're taking part in a poster competition, you can do free poster printing, free professional headshots, free business card printing. You can also reserve the room if you or reserve the space if you're wanting to practice your presentation skills. There is technology available. All of this, there is a link to GradSpace on the email I mentioned that I'll be sending out to you after the program, probably either later this afternoon or tomorrow. So let's talk about two special programs that I'd like to highlight for you. Um, these are ones that are continuous. They do go all year round. And the first one is CERTL at UTSA. This is specifically if you're planning on going in an academic track. So which means you're thinking about, I'd like to work at a university. I'd like to be a faculty member. I do plan to go back after a PhD. So you can get a jump start on learning about and getting training on how to be a teacher, in a sense, teaching in a classroom. So CERTL is a national networking community of top-tier institutions that provide resources for training and teaching at institutions of higher ed. CERTL at UTSA members get training from UTSA and CERTL cross-networking institutes to develop teaching and learning skills. Participants can achieve a CERTL at UTSA Associate Practitioner or Scholar Certificate, along with a micro-credentialing badge that aligns with each of those, and use their teaching experience in the classroom or, of course, for academic careers. If you do want more information, if this is something that you think, well, that sounds really interesting, just jot down this email, gps@utsa.edu. If you can't remember the email, then you have my email address. You can email me and I can forward you on to the person that handles the CERTL program, which is my colleague on my team, Cynthia Mecca. The other one I wanted to touch on is the Nature Masterclass. This is a program that is just starting at UTSA. It is a fully online training platform with courses designed by editors of nature journals. So the course offerings cover a range of topics, including experimental design, grant writing, data analysis, publishing and writing, creating successful research posters, and career development and other items. Currently, there are 24 courses with 120 hours of learning. You can select the courses and modules for the right stage in your career. Obviously, this is at your own pace since it is virtual. You can access the course by using your UTSA email ID, the my.utsa.edu, or if you are working at UTSA, you may have a utsa.edu email address. And there is an introduction session if you want to learn more about Nature Masterclass on January 27th at 12 p.m. It will be held, I believe, virtually. If you want to register for this program, which will be held on Zoom, you can scan that QR code, and that will take you to the registration link if you are interested in learning more about the Nature Masterclass opportunity. Funding opportunities, this is managed by my colleague, Tim Pillais here in the graduate school, who is our senior program coordinator. And the Graduate Student Professional Development Award, you can apply, any graduate student can apply for this once an academic year, which means fall, spring, or summer semester is considered an academic year. So for context, we are in the second semester of this academic year. You must be selected to present at a conference. We do offer fall, spring, and summer awarding. There are 2 fall deadlines, 2 spring deadlines, and 1 summer deadline. The max amount you can receive is $750, and that is based on the budget items you include, and if you're also receiving any other external funding. That determines the amount of the award. The max you can get is $750. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you want to find more information about this, also will be included in my email after. And if you want to go onto the website, you can go onto graduateschool.utsa.edu and check out the website. And let's continue. I just wanted to make sure everything was still going correctly, and it is. So, okay, so the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is our community building and networking opportunities. The first two are, or excuse me, the two I want to focus on first are the monthly programs, which are our First Friday programs, and then we have our downtown campus monthly meetups, which is again community building and networking. Um, the First Fridays, as is stated, occur on the first Friday of the month on the main campus, various locations. So you just want to keep a lookout for the email announcements for those. Um, they're held from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Oftentimes there are free coffee and donuts for anyone that wants to arrive, and sometimes dependent on the month will depend on the type of graduate school merchandise that we have to give away. The same thing for the downtown campus. Downtown campus is actually in the evenings, so it's from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's basically a similar structure. And with something will be provided for you to snack on, and then some graduate school merchandise options. In addition, be on the lookout for announcements about Graduate Student Appreciation Week, which always takes place the first full week of April. This program or this week is sponsored by the graduate school, and programming is offered by the graduate school and oftentimes your colleges as well. So be on the lookout for those announcements, both from the graduate school and from your college or department for these special events during the week of Graduate Student Appreciation Week. So what I'm going to do now is that's a lot of information to kind of take in. Before we start on our uh, panel, which is just, we're going to give it just a couple minutes. Let's take about let's do a 5-minute break, and then we will continue. So 5 minutes. So if you can please um, be back in your chairs at 11:33, that would be great. So, and we'll pick it up there. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get back started. It is 11:33, and normally I would be moderating this panel, which is a panel on how to be successful in graduate school from an alumni perspective, a graduate school alumni. However, the person that normally sits, my colleague that normally sits on this panel, is running another program concurrently with orientation. So not only will I be moderator, but I also will be one of the people on the panel. The other person that is joining me is Dr. Maria Medrano, and who is the director of special projects here in the graduate school. And there she is. Good morning, Maria. And we're going to I will be asking some questions and we will both be providing answers. And again, this is from an alumni perspective. I received my master's here at UTSA. Maria has received her master's at a separate university, but then received her PhD here at UTSA. And so, Maria, the first thing, and of course, I'm going to be popping it to you, and then I'll take it after you do. Um, if you knew then what you know now, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself as you began your graduate program?
I think the main thing for me would be to use my time wisely. I know you're going to see that you're going to meet once a week for about a couple of hours, and that makes it seem like you have plenty of time, especially if you're used to meeting 3 times a week with your undergrad classes. On the surface, it does look like you have more time, but it does take a lot more time to prepare for the classes at the graduate level. So when you show up to your class, you're not just absorbing information, you're actually expected to contribute to the discussion. Sometimes your professors might want you to lead the discussion. So you have to make sure that you are well prepared enough to do those things. And that means a lot more reading than you did in undergrad and a lot more questioning what you're reading, so that you can be more engaged in the classroom. If you don't read, it's very, very obvious to everybody else, especially the professor. So that would be my advice. It at the beginning, it will seem like you have more time, but just make sure that you manage your time wisely so that you're well prepared for courses.
I concur with that. I would stress the reading part. The classrooms are much smaller. You can't hide as a graduate student. Um, you can't be the person that sits in the back of the room and expect not to be called on. Classrooms are usually, you know, max is going to be 30 to 40 students. Um, and you have 2+ hour time blocks in these classes, plenty of time for faculty members to get around to you. They will learn your name, they will call on you, and you just want to be prepared. The other thing is the writing, the three things that you want to be make sure that you're boning up on, which is what is the largest parts about graduate school, even a master's program, which is the writing portion. So writing your papers, you want to make sure you improve your writing skills, your public speaking skills, because you will be giving presentations in class, sometimes be selected to go present at research or academic conferences. And then the other one is, of course, learning how to appropriately and scholastically research. So you will be, of course, it's a lot of it's going to be learning, but also never be afraid to ask your professor for assistance. Um, what is the best piece of advice you received, Maria, let's say before you went into your master's program? What was the best piece of advice you received?
I think it's kind of often overlooked, but making friends. I didn't understand the importance of making friends. If you're like me and you work full time and are planning to attend graduate school full time, it might seem like, I mean, you probably really don't have a lot of time to engage with others, and sometimes you just want to be in and out of campus, and that's understandable. But I think it's important for you to realize that your peers and your professors, anybody that you can build professional relationships with in your department are going to be key for your success. One of the reasons I know that is because my research focuses on graduate student success. And so that's one of the highest predictors, peer relationships and advisor relationships. And the other part is experience. You are able to vent with people who maybe aren't going through the same exact experience, but they can relate to some of the stuff that's stressing you out. Sometimes you may have to miss class and you will need to have somebody who is able to give you the information that you missed, because again, it's 3 hours packed into one class meeting. So you'll probably miss a lot of information if you miss even once. And even just to double check your work or make sure that you're understanding things correctly, it's nice to have people that you can bounce ideas back and forth from.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing that I want to add is make sure to develop a relationship with interpersonal relationships, professional relationships in graduate school are important, especially with your faculty. So really get to know them, make a point of introducing yourself, reminding them who you are. In class, as we stated before, be very engaged. But these are the people that later on may ask you to um, maybe co-write or co-author a chapter of a book or work in their lab if that happens to be part of your program. So getting to know your faculty, making your name known to them, um, and taking an interest in them and their research, I think is really important, building those relationships. So, Maria, since professional development is a big part of what the graduate school offers, why is professional development as important as academic development?
Think it's definitely as important because when you have that degree, sometimes you're meeting the minimum requirement. Everybody else that's applying has that same degree that you have. And so through professional development, you're able to acquire those skills that make you more marketable when you're out looking for employment. I think it's also beneficial to attend professional development events because, sorry about that, because that's your opportunity to network with others. Like John said, some of the people that you're building relationships with throughout graduate school might be the people that are asking for you to collaborate with them, or maybe they're looking for somebody, a colleague, their company's hiring or something like that. So I think it's definitely very important to engage in those activities for learning beyond the classroom.
Yeah, I would, definitely agree with that. The professional development piece is what my team actually does and what I've been doing for the majority of my career in higher education. I think it's underestimated and undervalued by current students, especially master's students, that it's something that they don't need, that simply what you're wanting to do is you want to come to campus, take your courses and go home. And that is 100% understandable. We are all very busy people, and so you're carving out additional time. But this additional time will help you either within your job or give you that edge in landing a job. For example, attending a certain number of the professional and career development sessions where you might get a session on leadership, you might get a session on public speaking, you might get a session on mentoring. All of these types of sessions link to a micro-credentialing badge, which you can add to your LinkedIn profile if you earn it, much like you can do with LinkedIn Learning or something like that. So I think it's important to keep in mind that, yes, you're here to get a degree, but you can also take the opportunity to take advantage of free services to you that you can attend from anywhere. Because, like I said, all of our sessions, although we love to see you in person, we know that's not always realistic. We do offer a hybrid option. And so at any point, you can hop on, you can look for the session, or excuse me, register for the session to attend virtually. Hop on your phone, on your tablet, on your work computer during your lunch hour, on your on your laptop from wherever you are, and either join synchronously, which means join as the program is happening, or of course, like I said, a lot of these sessions are recorded and put on our YouTube channel. You can review it asynchronously. There's just the lack of engagement, the inability to ask questions. Also, asynchronous viewing will not get you a micro-credentialing badge, for example. So just kind of keep that in mind. Be on the lookout for these emails. Our marketing coordinator is wonderful about sending out event newsletters once or twice a week. Look forecasting 2 weeks out and then letting you know what's happening next week in the graduate school. All these sessions are available to you. All the sessions are free. We do encourage you to attend and get involved. Maria, what is the best way to engage in the classroom? Which we kind of touched on this, but if you had any other pieces of advice.
A very simple one, and it's to ask questions. So as you prepare, as you're reading, as you're taking notes, write down questions that you can ask as you meet with your class. Like I said, you're going to be expected to engage in discussion, but what a great way to just start that discussion by just asking questions, not just to your professor, but to your classmates. So I think it will show how well prepared you are if you just have those ready, or maybe you think of something while you're in the classroom. But I would advise you to just write those down and ask them when you can.
Yeah, I would also I know from experience, especially when you're just starting, you think you don't know as much as everybody else. We'll touch on that in a minute. And you're afraid to have your voice heard. But everyone has a voice, everyone has a meaning, everyone has a perspective, and you may need to step out of your comfort zone at first and be more vocal. For some of us who consider ourselves introverted, that tends to be a little bit more difficult because for numerous reasons. And even extroverts, they don't want to speak up and maybe sound like they don't know what they're talking about. But again, you have a perspective to share, and this goes back to making yourself known. And if you are introverted, if you identify as an introvert or even possibly an ambivert, which is kind of a balance of the two, the more you do it, the more you engage in the classroom, the more you speak, the easier it's going to get. It just literally goes back to that old adage of practice makes perfect. And in this case, it is true. The more you do it, the more you speak up, the easier it's going to be. And so I would encourage you to start from right at the very beginning. So with that, talking about, walking in and thinking, I don't know as much as everybody else. I don't want to engage. I don't want them to think I don't belong here. That is a form of imposter syndrome. And Maria, let's talk about how to overcome imposter syndrome. So I'm going to toss that over to you.
I think first, remember that almost everybody in the room probably feels the same way as you do. So you're not alone. And the second part is remembering that you're in this program because experts in the field that you applied to decided that your application looked good enough for you to be successful, for you to complete the program. So somebody in that committee saw something in you that said, this person is just as great as everybody else that's in here. So remember that you got picked into the program, that everybody else feels that way, and just take it one step at a time as you start conquering little goals like, I don't know, completing your first paper, completing your first exam. That should be adding on to your feelings of self-efficacy, your feelings of, I can do this, and build up on it. I can tell you that sometimes it's really, really hard to get over it. I don't know if anybody ever does. My advisor told me she'll let me know when it goes away. And she's been in the field for a very, very long time. So I think it's something that might be constant, but as you conquer little goals, it should become less of an issue.
I would agree. I don't know that it ever goes away. I think, the same imposter syndrome that may be there as a graduate student is there as a professional in certain areas. But going back to what Maria said, you're here for a reason, both for yourself and the fact that the university faculty selected you to be admitted to this program. That means you already have credibility as you're stepping into the classroom. You just need to own that. Again, going back to the fact, and I talk about this when I train in public speaking, is you do have a voice, so let it be heard. You do have a perspective, let it be heard, and just try to gain that confidence. And it is easier said than done, but you'll find, again, as Marie said, everybody's in the same boat. Trust me, I walked into the classroom my first time for a master's program, and I thought, what am I doing? Like, what was I thinking? This is graduate school, and they're going to know that I'm not as smart as them. And in fact, that was the totally not the case. And everyone is so very welcoming, and really everyone does want to hear your perspective and what you have to contribute. So I would say, like Maria said, step by step, first week, first project, first presentation, first semester, just getting through those benchmarks or those milestones will help you kind of gain that confidence as you move through. So Maria, and we kind of touched on this before, but what role did your cohort and classmates play in your success in graduate school?
They played a huge role. Like I said, at first, I wasn't too focused on building any relationships with them. I worked on campus, so it was easy for me to just go to class and come back to my office. But one day I decided that I was going to show up to a study session, and everybody was super confused and nobody knew who I was, even though I had been sitting in the same classroom for, I want to say, about a month or two. And once they realized who I was, they started, engaging with me. They invited me to trivia. They made me feel welcome. They made me feel comfortable asking questions, because kind of like going back to imposter syndrome, I was like, am I understanding this correctly? Am I not smart enough to understand this? Because one of my more difficult classes was a stats class. And so it was very helpful, not just for feeling welcome, but also, like I mentioned earlier, for making sure that you're on the right track and understanding things correctly and bouncing ideas back and forth from each other.
Yeah, I would agree. The other thing is this is where networking comes in, and it just so happens that my master's program is in higher ed administration, and so I continued to have classes with people in the specific field, and what I what came out of that was, first of all, friendships. I have people that were in that program that still work at UTSA that are very close colleagues and friends of mine to this day. The other thing that it helped me with is I got my first job out of graduate school from a classmate who was in my master's program. I had a number of classes with him. He saw my capabilities. He had a job opening that he thought I'd be perfect for. And he actually reached out to me and said, would you please apply? I think you're perfect for this job. So again, making yourself known, putting yourself out there, networking. And that's, I think it's very important for cohorts. Okay, Maria, the Dreadful Group Project. Let's talk about the Dreadful Group Project and how prevalent it is and how to make it successful. So pop it back over to you.
So I actually had I didn't have to do a lot of group projects on my program, but the one time that I did, I really wanted to be with the people in my cohort because I was just starting to build relationships with them. So I was like, I want to be with all the people that are in my cohort. But we can only have so many people in each group. So I didn't end up being there. And I accidentally ended up with people I was first year, there were second year, third year, and I think there was even a fourth year in there. So I think I got very lucky that I ended up in that group because I was able to learn from the people who had more experience in the program and who had more, I do want to say knowledge in the topic because I was just becoming familiar with it. And so they were really strategic about how they assigned everybody their group assignments. So some of them took over the more difficult tasks and even took the time to explain to me what they were doing as far as statistics went. They had me and another person who focus on the literature review so we could contribute and also learn more about the topic. So I think I'm very grateful that that was my experience with our group. So I will end with saying that I think diversity and experience is key for successful group outcomes.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say not everyone is going to always participate at the level that you participate in or you expect. That's just a fact. You find that not just in the classroom setting and group work, but that translates also to a professional setting. You know, you may be working on a committee and some people just may not be pulling the weight of others. Sometimes you as whether you're the lead of it or a participant, do have to make up as resentful as you may be, you do have to make up for what's lacking from a someone else on your team, because at the end of the day the most important thing is that you're putting out the best product possible, whether that be a presentation or a group paper, whatever you happen to be doing. You just want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and that you're going to get a good grade on the paper. And if you do have concerns, if there is someone that is not just not up to par with the rest of the group, but actually is not participating at all and just kind of riding on everybody else's coattails, then maybe bring it up to your faculty, to your professor, and have a discussion. But make sure there's a group consensus to do that. Don't just go off on your own. Um, but I think that I was very lucky in graduate school and also actually undergrad. Anytime I was in a group, everyone contributed. So I never felt like that one person was not giving 100%. I think everybody did. But you are gonna if group work is prevalent, you're gonna see it in almost every class you have, some type of group project or group presentation. And you just kind of have to get used to it. And hopefully you end up with a good group each and every time. So I'm gonna call it there so that we can work in a break before our next panel. Maria, thank you so much for joining us this morning and imparting some of your knowledge and wisdom from your graduate programs. And everyone else, we will come back let's do a little bit longer. We'll come back at 5 minutes after 12, and we will get started with our campus services Q&A panel. So everyone, I'll see you in just a brief few minutes. Hi, Kranika, we're on a short break. We'll be getting started at 5 after.
Okay, sounds good. Give me time to fix this audio. Can you hear me, John?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. It fixed the headphones. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. I was struggling to put my headset back in. Okay, and we are back, and I am happy to be joined by a number of my colleagues from across campus, and I will go around and introduce them, and they can just wave or say hello. Feel free to say hello. We have Sandra Martinez from Wellbeing Services. We have Larissa Guerra from Campus Services. We have Kranika Wynn from the Registrar's Office. We have Emily Johnson from UTSA Libraries. And we have Martha Smith from the Writing Center. We still are waiting. We do have a sixth panelist, which is from International Student Services. He is not joined yet, so hopefully he'll be popping on soon. So what this period of time enables you to do as students on this program is you can ask as many questions, any type of questions. We will try our best to get those answered for you. Hopefully, we will get to the majority, if not all the questions in the time allotted. And so I have up the Q&A. So I will start at the very beginning and we will just start working our way down. So again, if you do have a question, a burning question that you want to know, please do type it into the Q&A function and we'll try to get to it. So the first question is, and actually I may have to ask my colleague, Dr. Joshi, to turn on her camera because I think this is a question from an earlier part of the presentation, which is the question is, are we still able to sign up for certificates once we graduate? And if so, where would we find them? My guess is this might be about CERTL. So the question is, Madhumita, can alumni participate in our programs?
Yes, if they are working at UTSA, so yeah, you can, it is open for all UTSA staff, student, any position you are at UTSA, you are welcome.
Okay, but if they no longer are affiliated, so they've graduated and moved on, are they able to participate or no?
They still possess a UTSA email? If it is, then
Do-
yes, because CERTL is not only for UTSA, it's also for whole national level 45 institute. Coursework you can access, and you will be able to access it only if you have a UTSA assigned email ID. So
Pranika, do you know, or does anyone on the panel know if the students still have access to their my.utsa.edu emails after they graduate?
They do. They typically have about 6 months. If they stay active within their email, it can stay active longer. If they are not logging into their email and utilizing it, it will be disabled after 6 months. And then they will have to request access from Tech Cafe.
Great.
yeah,
Uh,
if they have, then definitely they can.
Perfect. This was from, well, Maria's already logged off, but this student is saying, I have had trouble pulling up my syllabus and required books for my class, I guess on Canva. I haven't checked for about a week, but the class is not new. Would that info be available now? And if so, why do professors take so long to provide such, which we happen to have a faculty member on the panel. So Martha, would you be able to provide an answer?
Well, I can't answer the second part of why we take so long, but I can answer the first part. I was just instructed that our Canvas courses would be live tomorrow. So, and that's just university-wide whenever they open up the Canvas. So by tomorrow, you should be able to act, and I don't know if that even means tonight at midnight. I don't know. We were just told Friday it would become available. And then so you should be able to see some materials. And if you don't, if you see the Canvas course and it's like empty, there's not much there, you can follow up with the professor.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to follow up with that is again thinking about the first day of classes, which is Tuesday. If you've been keeping up with the weather, there is a possibility of winter precipitation, so snow and ice, possibly on Monday. They're saying for sure on Tuesday. So be on the lookout. Will classes be canceled? Probably not, because thanks to COVID, we're able to, as a university, pivot very quickly to a virtual platform. But you will want to keep up to date on whether the campus itself is open, meaning classes are being held in person on Tuesday. You can do that by checking the UTSA website, your email, or social media as well, or you can call 458-SNOW, 458 SNOW, and it'll give you up-to-date information on the status of the campus and whether classes will be held virtually or in person on Tuesday. Also, again, please keep in mind Monday is a holiday, so there are no classes at all on Monday. So this is going back to what we were talking about before the break, which is group work. So what do you do if you feel your group doesn't accept you? Does anyone have any experience with group work and would like to answer that? Go ahead, Martha.
Okay, I assign a group assignment in my class. I teach undergraduates, and I have never had experience with a group not accepting a group member if the group member is replying to emails, is, you know, participating or trying to participate. So that may be a worry that you will not need to worry about when the time comes, as long as you are participating. If that is not the case, if you're answering emails but you feel like you're not being accepted, I mean, it's hard, but communication is the key. And you can, you know, ask questions like, it seems like I am not being respected or I'm not feeling included. Is there anything I can do? And so those are hard questions to ask, but I think you've got to ask it if you feel that you're not being respected or included. But I will say, in my experience, all kinds of different students from different backgrounds and perspectives get along as long as students are participating and doing their part.
Thanks, Martha. This student shares, I haven't discussed with an advisor which classes to register for yet. Should I just register based on my degree plan or audit, or will I need to see an advisor? Well, that's kind of I can help with that answer. Your advisors, for the most part, not all colleges, but for the most part, most colleges will be a faculty member. They can advise you on what classes to take. I would say as long as it's part of your degree plan, you can register for the class as long as that class does not have prerequisites. If it has prerequisites, of course, you have to take those prereqs first before you'd be able to register for those courses. Did anyone want to add anything to that? Are we good? Okay. Would you be able to tell me if the Public Administration and Policy program has a spring orientation for new graduate students? Unfortunately, no. We're on this group of people, we're unsure about college-specific pieces, but I would say I can tell you who to reach out to, and I will type her email, but you're going to want to reach out to Janice Schwartz in the College for Health, Community, and Policy, and she is the graduate program coordinator for the college, and so that is now available in the Q&A. If class is online, would there be any need to get a parking pass? If your classes are solely online and you do not plan to be coming to campus at all within normal business hours, then you would not need to get a parking permit, but I'll ask our rep from Campus Services what they think.
Hi, to answer that question, no, you would not need a permit for that time period because we also have hourly parking here on campus in our parking garage and our areas called Park Mobile Spaces. It's $2.50 an hour. So if you ever wanted to come to the campus to go study in the library or anything like that, you could park in the garage, which is right next to the library, and you'll be good to go. So you won't need a permit, but also the permits are prorated. I can't tell you the prices of all of them, but the commuter one right now would be $128. So I'll toss that out there as well.
And the $128 is per academic year, right? It's not per month.
Correct. It's gonna be if you pay for the 128 right now, it's good until August 31st, and it's a flat rate right there, and you'll be good to go. And you can add it towards your tuition as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Once we graduate, we have access for a semester or so, and then we can join Alumni Association to have access to all emails and have an ID active. Now, I think going back to Kranika's answer is being a part of the Alumni Association does not necessarily mean you are an active on the UTSA system. Simply means you're active with alumni. So you would want to just make sure to be checking your UTSA email and engaging maybe on there regularly. And that way you can keep your account active. The other thing you can do is contact Tech Cafe, which is for the university, and it's for everyone. And does anyone know, is it Tech.Cafe or just Tech Cafe?
I believe it's just Tech Cafe.
Yeah, I don't think there's a dot.
Tech Cafe at utsa.edu, and that is now available in the Q&A for anyone that would like to get that email address. See. In one of my classes, if one of my classes is on Monday, does that mean it will then start the following week since Monday is a holiday? The answer to that is yes. How early or late as a graduate student should you decide what your research focus should be? I'm still unsure whether I want to be thesis or non-thesis. Thank you. And um, in a master's program, if there's something that you work, if this is also from my experience, if there's something you work on from a research that's interesting for you from a research perspective, and you decide you want to write a thesis on it, I would encourage you to maybe go that route. I actually wrote this very in-depth research paper in one of my classes, and my faculty member at the time was so impressed with the amount of research I had done and getting IRB approval and everything that I had enough data that she suggested I utilize that as a foundation if I ever went after a doctoral degree and for my dissertation, which I did not. But I would say if you talk to your faculty member, talk to your advisor about the thesis versus non-thesis option and what they think, and then just kind of start looking for an area of research within your discipline that interests you. Maybe that is something that you learn in one of your classes the first semester, second semester. Do you have any recommendations? I feel I may need some major brushing up on academic writing and citations. I'm coming back to school after a long, long time and working in the government sector, which requires brevity in most cases. And I am going to toss this over to the head of the Writing Center, Martha Smith.
Okay, I am so happy you asked that question. So we have a writing center on campus. We have online hours generally 7 days a week. So I'm working on that right now. We have them 5 days a week, where you don't even have to come to campus. You can upload a paper and chat live with the tutor. And in the chat, I'll put our website, utsa.edu/TWC, and that's where you would go. You'd register for our WC online appointment system, and then you could explore the appointments that are available. You can make 2 appointments a week up to 2 weeks in advance. And also, I wanted to give another hint. If you are nervous about writing, which I think is very common with incoming graduate students, the more you read in your new discipline, the more comfortable you'll feel with what kind of writing is expected of you. And Emily can help with that. You have a discipline-specific librarian. I'm not going to steal Emily's thunder there. But so those are my 2 hints before I pass it over to her. So we do have tutors. We work with graduate students all the time. Our online tutors are, super experienced and would be able to help you whatever discipline you're in. And then also, I would recommend just to read a lot in your discipline, and then you get the hang of what is expected.
You read my mind, Martha. I was going to say, on the not so much the actual writing, which the Writing Center are your experts there, when it comes to looking up the research that you need to write the thing. I was going to mention, don't forget that the library, you have a subject-specific librarian that you can reach out to one-on-one. And they can help you navigate the databases, the library website, all the resources that we have to help you with the actual research component of what you're writing. And then the library offers support for citation manager tools, which can also help you do your citations in whatever you're writing very quickly. So between the Writing Center and the library, we have a lot here to help.
I will also like to add, just now John showed you all that nature master class, which is also for writing, mainly for your research data writing, how you write your research lab book, start from there to manuscript writing and grant writing. So all those sector programs are there, which is asynchronous, and you can take it anytime you want to 140 hours courses. And all are guided by nature editors, journal editors. So that's an excellent program we got this year. So that might be helpful because you can take it anytime of yours. And there will be a one program on 27th of this month where journals editors are coming. It's a virtual, so you can learn all about it. You can just log in Nature Masterclass using your UTSA ID and see which one suits for you. If you are a new student, maybe you can start from lab data writing, journal writing.
Thank you. These next two questions are for campus services. If we purchased a new car and don't have a license plate yet, is there still a way to purchase a parking permit?
Yes, you can actually use the paper plates that come with the new vehicle, and then you could always go back to your parking portal once your new plates come in, and then just add the plates to the vehicle and you'll be good to go like that as well.
Thank you. This is going back to Canvas. Where can I check for book materials for my classes if needed? Martha did mention that Canvas will be going live for faculty members tomorrow, which is Friday. And at that time, you'll be able to see if your information is on Canvas for the particular course you're looking for.
And I just kind of want to add something to that about there is a tool that a lot of your instructors probably will be using on Canvas called Library Reading List. And so there is kind of this common misconception floating around that the library is going to have every single piece of material that you need on your syllabus that you're assigned to read. We unfortunately don't have every single textbook that you might be assigned, or we don't necessarily have every single article. So if you are having a hard time locating that, sometimes your instructor will have already gone through the process of locating it and uploaded it to Canvas for you. Some won't. And you'll see that in the library reading list tool, what they have available. If you have other things that you need to read that you're not seeing in the reading list tool or that your instructor hasn't shared with you, reach out to the library and we'll help you try to find it. But we do every semester, we have students that and instructors that'll say, well, the library has everything for you, just call the library. And unfortunately, that's just not realistic for how many classes there are. So, but if you have any issues locating anything, you could reach out to your librarian.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. Can you tell me more about the major paper due at the end of our graduate program? I know you can't tell me specifics, but can you explain the framework? I don't know a lot about it. Best way to answer this question is there's going to be 2 to 3 options that when you get to the end of your graduate program. You're either going to have a comprehensive exam that could be in the form of writing, or it could be in the form of a test. You may have a thesis if you have a thesis is required for your program, or you've chosen a thesis option. That you're going to get advice in writing it from a faculty member that you choose to be your committee chair, and a faculty committee. And then there's the other option where it's just simply an end of semester or end of program project. And that's again going to be determined by your faculty member or by your program. So I would suggest getting with faculty in your academic program and kind of seeing what any feedback they can give you. If you, but considering you're already thinking about the end of your program, props to you for getting way ahead of the game. This is for any of our panelists. I'm a full-time employee here at UTSA. I am scheduled for 2 classes and I'm kind of scared and overwhelmed because I have been out of school for a while. I've actually considered dropping one. I need your opinion and advice. Should I drop one or keep both? Does anyone have any perspectives on, as a working professional taking multiple graduate classes?
I was just answering a question similar to this in the chat. I can say honestly, time management is going to be your best friend. I was actually a teen parent in high school. I completed both my undergraduate and graduate degrees with 2 children, and it is extremely difficult. However, it took a lot of planning. I had to plan my study time, and you have to stick to it and you have to set healthy boundaries. You're not going to be able to go out and have the fun that you want to have when your friends are going out, of course. But if your kids are of age, please communicate with them and let them know that you're not neglecting them, that you are doing something that is going to benefit them later in life. And then use the resources around you. If you have any family or close friends nearby, let them know that you are trying to change your life or you have a goal that's very important to you and you can use their assistance. Also, form study groups, make friends with people in your cohort. They are going to be really good friends in helping you get through that, and they'll become your lifelong friends as well. So that's the advice that I can offer.
Martha, did you want to add anything?
Yes, I think that once you attend classes for the first week or two, you'll get a sense of what level of commitment time-wise you'll need. I do sort of believe the saying, if you need something done, ask a busy person. And I agree, like, you know, time management will be key, but I know other people are working and taking graduate classes. So I would just wait to get a feel for the classes, get a feel for the professors, and then think about what your schedule might look like.
Thank you both. Going back to campus services, if I get a parking permit for the downtown garage, can I park in the visitor parking spots if they are the only ones available? Well, I can say in advance, there's plenty of parking at the downtown campus, but I'll let you take that away.
Yes, that is correct. There is a lot of parking in the garage for the downtown campus garage. So the ones that you're mentioning, the visitor, those are the ones on top. Those are our park mobile spaces. And to be honest, if you have a garage pass and park in it and don't pay, you will get a citation because those are the hourly parking that you have to pay at all times. But if you do have a garage pass, you could actually park on that first level when you drive in. And I believe there's 3 levels beneath it as well that you can park in any of those as well. And I've been at the downtown campus for a few years for a while, and I've never seen that lot full. So there'll be plenty of parking for you there.
Thank you. I want to change the number on my ABC account, my phone number. How can I do that? The old number might stop working and I may not be able to get a passcode to authenticate my logins. I think you do that on ASAP, right? If you need to change your primary phone number associated with your account on ASAP, yeah. Let's see. Pranika, this is for you. I graduated with my undergrad in 2021, but I am unsure if my diploma was mailed out to my parents' house or not. My mom says she does not remember seeing it. Is there someone I can ask to confirm that it was mailed out or not?
Absolutely. Please email graduation coordination at utsa.edu and we'll look into that for you. If it was not received, we'll be glad to print another copy.
For online classes, do we need to order books or will electronic books be provided through a specific site? That's a really good question. Martha, or Emily, do you know the answer to that?
It truly just depends on what your instructor has assigned. So, and if the library has it. So again, we try to, if a faculty member reaches out to us and tells us that they need these books for their courses, we're going to try to get it. Our preference is always to get an electronic copy, and it's always to try to get a copy that has unlimited users at once. However, it just depends on what the publishers have available. So kind of what we do is we start with like, if the faculty member tells us they need it for a course, this is what we're going to try to find. And then if we can't, we'll get the next best option. So it truly just depends on the item. So I can't give you an across the board answer. But the library is really used to answering these questions if you give us the name of the title, and we'll tell you what your access options are. There are situations where the only copy of something that we can get is in print, just because of that's how the publisher offers it. But if you get into that kind of situation where you're online only and the library only has it in print, reach out to us and we'll see what kind of solutions we can come up with. Because our goal is to try to get you everything you need, but I can't give a good across the board answer, unfortunately.
I have never had a professional position or even an internship. So my question is, how do I become a professional? Are there any internships or positions that the university can offer us to learn? This is a very good question. I would go back to participating in professional development opportunities that are either offered by the graduate school, offered by your college, or even offered by the University Career Center. Although we don't have a representative on this panel, I will include the University Career Center website as a link on the email I'll send out to everyone after this session. I have class in the morning and in the evening. What type of parking pass should I have? Also, I plan to study on campus late at night too.
Yes, I was typing on that one, but I'll just say it right here. For that one, the most common permit to get would be the commuter surface permit, and that will allow parking in any of the unmarked spaces that we have on campus, disregarding the housing area, because those are unmarked as well. But then the good thing with the commuter pass that after 4:30, you can actually park in any employee B space. So they'll be a little bit closer to the buildings if you're gonna stay late at night and everything like that. But just as long as you're gone the next day at 7 a.m. and you'll be perfectly fine.
Thank you. As a graduate student, I've opened the listing of course material info and it lists the professor's name. However, I found it impossible to find their email address to ask them for recommended books for the course ahead of January 21st. What do I do? Anybody?
Okay, so Canvas, when it opens tomorrow, the Canvas course, there's a section that should have the professor's email and how to contact that professor. And actually, in Canvas, you can message your professors through Canvas. On the left-hand side, there's a link for communication. So I would just give it a little bit longer and see tomorrow, once that Canvas course opens, if you can't find that professor, you should be able to find the professor's email and communicate with the professor right through Canvas.
Thank you, Martha. Campus services, does a commuter parking pass allow access to downtown and main campus garage parking? I know that's just a general no.
Yes, unfortunately, the commuter permits won't allow you access into the garage unless you're gonna pay the $2.50 an hour. But we do have the garage permits as well. I don't have the price for them, but for main campus, if you pick a Jimenez garage, you can only park in the Jimenez garage. But for the downtown campus, it takes any garage permit to park in there because there's only one garage down there. So that'll be for that.
This question is a little tricky. Chronica or anyone actually on the panel might know the answer, but the question is, I was told by my advisor that it's recommended to take one course every 8 weeks, which tells me they're in that. So there's different types of courses. There's 8-week courses, there's 16-week courses. And during the summer, there's also 5-week courses. So anyway, this one course every 8 weeks if I'm working full-time, I need to take 2 courses for the GI Bill. Do you think doing 2 8-week courses while working full-time is something possible? I think this might be, at least for the GI Bill, which you may need to check with financial aid. But I think that what they consider full-time is 2 courses per semester, which would be either fall, or spring. Like the full semester is 16 weeks, but you may want to confirm contacting financial aid to see, because that gets into kind of a very gray area to confirm. Karnika, is there anything else or do you think that's the best course of action?
That's what I was gonna recommend because the 8-week courses are billed a little bit different from 16-week. So they will need to check either with CMAS or financial aid for more information.
Thank you. Where do I see which building campus my classes are in? I'm not sure which campus my class is on. It's going to be on your ASAP schedule. It should tell you the building. If you want to send a separate message saying what building it is, we can tell you which campus it's on. I don't think it lists campus. I think it just lists building and room number, right? Like on ASAP. It's been so long since I've been on it, but that's the way it used to be. I don't think it lists campus, but I could be wrong.
I think so. I don't think it does. I think you'd have to then take that building and compare it to a map, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
not totally sure which campus it's on. The good news is the downtown campus doesn't have that many buildings, so you'll probably start remembering which one is which soon.
True. Transportation question. How safe is it to walk from UTSA downtown to Central Plaza at 8:30 p.m.? Does UTSA offers courtesy officers to walk with students from the downtown office to Central Plaza?
I know that I was at the downtown campus late afternoon, and I called security to walk me to a certain office in sort of a deserted building, and I was happy I did that. So I don't know. I would call them ahead of time and ask what they have available, but I would never hesitate to have security to call them. They're on my speed dial on my phone, and they're super helpful. And if you ever have any concern about your surroundings, I would call security and ask for someone to walk with you. That's
And
my
that-
motherly advice.
And that's your motherly advice. And that's 458-4911. And then it gives you the menu option of
For
emergency or non-emergency.
4242 for non-emergency, and they're
42
always available for escort, is my understanding.
Well, thanks, Tim. So 210-458-4242.
Yes, and
be-
I will add, if it's for that's the Via bus, I believe. And I think around the downtown campus, there should be at least 3 Via stops. So maybe the bus that they would need might drive by there as well, but they would have to check the Via maps for that. But there are Via bus stops on campus, on Frio as well as Buena Vista. And I think there's one on Cesar Chavez, I believe.
The next question is 3 classes and 1 online class too much if I work full-time and am a parent? What I would say from my experience is, and just as a reminder for everyone on here, at UTSA, 2 classes or 6 credit hours is considered part-time. Not 3 classes or 9 hours is considered full-time. So anything above that is more than full-time. I would maybe, Martha said this earlier, but if you want to try taking 3 or 4 classes, it's a lot in graduate school. But again, if you want to see what the workload's going to be like after a week or two. But just remember, to drop your classes to get a refund, you do need to do that before census date, which is the 12th class day, and you can drop your courses on ASAP. If you wait till after census to drop classes, you will not be getting a full refund. Emily, did you want to add anything?
You kind of said what I was going to say. I was just going to mention the biggest difference for me when I went from undergrad to graduate school was that a full course load went from being 4 to 5 classes to 3 classes. So when I went to grad school, I went full time in person, and full time in person was 3 classes. So I don't know if that helps provide perspective on how much work that is, but the classes do consist of more than undergraduate courses do, I would say.
Thank you. Do you need to be in a cohort to graduate, or to be in a graduate program or to graduate? I can only take 1 course a semester. As a master's student, no, you're not required to stay with a cohort, which means you're not required to stay with the students that you were admitted with. Master's tends to be on your own time. However, if you do choose to take multiple semesters off, you will have to reapply, which means if you're taking a semester off, it means you are not enrolled in any courses. So just keep that in mind. But no, you're not required to keep up with your classmates or your cohort. What does this mean on the syllabus? The textbook is available in the bookstore, but it is also available as part of the My Business course package.
I don't know. I've never heard of that one before. I would recommend reaching out to your librarian to ask. I know, I'm just taking a guess off the top of my head. There are some packages that publishers or other groups sell for access to textbooks that are completely outside of what like the library might offer. And so there are some programs that colleges might take advantage of, or they might offer up, or they might mention to students that you could get all the textbooks for like a certain dollar amount for the course of your class, but that's outside the library. So just, yeah, I would say ask your instructor, let the librarian know, and then also if, it's an expensive package, if it's expensive to purchase those books and you're not sure that you want to do that, and then let the library know and we can see what we can offer.
Thank you. Campus services. Oh, wait, no. If I apply for financial aid, what type of aid will I get? Is it a grant or a loan? I will say for master's students, the majority of financial aid you will receive, unless you have applied and received a scholarship, are student loans. What I would also recommend is you try to go as far as you can with the federal loans, which should cover tuition and fees. Do not go with privatized loans because they tend to have flex interest rates when it's time for repayment. So you really want to be careful of that. Whereas federal loans, so the subsidized versus unsubsidized, either of those will have a fixed rate that will not increase once it's locked in. And those loans are primarily through the Department of Education. Let's see. Okay, so my classes say main building and the others say business building. Both of those are actually very close to each other on the main campus on the northeast side of campus. So yeah, main building. So it's basically the main building, and then the John Peace Library is right next to that. And then next to that is the business building. Let's see. Just getting thank yous. Let's see. My the course is Chicanos and Latinos Media in the Mexican American Studies graduate program. Oh, Sonia. I think that's the College of Liberal and Fine Arts. I believe that's where that is located. It's either that or bicultural bilingual studies. Does anyone know, Tim or Madhumita, know where that program is housed?
Which one you are asking for, John?
It's Chicanos and Latinos Media in the Mexican, it's the department or the program is Mexican American Studies.
On the website, that's showing up under co-ed.
Co-ed?
That's what I was gonna say,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, Mexican related, all the courses are in co-ed.
Which
Okay.
is the College of Education and Human Development.
So what you can do is they have something called student development specialists within the College of Education and Human Development, but we do have a graduate school contact that can align you with whichever advisor you'll need to speak with. And I'm typing her email address into the Q&A. It's joannejones@utsa.edu. And she is the graduate school College of Ed retention and graduation coordinator. Do we have a gym at the main campus? The answer, easy answer, is yes. Very large gym, one of the largest gyms on a university campus in the state of Texas. Boom. Let's see. I want to register for another course so that I can be considered full-time. Is it too late to do so in regards to the payment deadline?
I was just answering that when I was pulling up the academic calendar. The deadline for late registration is January 29th.
Ooh. So still time. Worst case scenario, I don't get an A or B and get dismissed from the graduate program. Is there a way back in? The answer is yes, there is. And you can get a C, but if your grade point average drops below, your total grade point average drops below a 3.0, for one semester, you'll be placed on academic probation. If you do not raise your GPA by the next semester, so one semester on probation, if you fall below a 3.0, so you get one semester on, then you would be dismissed. If you're academically dismissed, you can appeal the decision to get reinstated. If your appeal is denied, you would have to reapply to the program. Okay. Are there tennis classes we can register for recreation purposes? I don't know if there are actual classes on campus. Does anyone know that through the
I
rec
don't
center?
know, I'd have to check if there are, it's gonna be through UTSA Rec Center, so you'll want to check their website. They do have a wide variety of recreational courses and intramural sports teams. Yeah, so you'd want to check the UTSA Rec Center website, which you can just Google UTSA Rec Center and find it that way.
And the link will be on the email I send out to everyone later this afternoon or tomorrow. Are payment plans available for tuition and fees, and are there any hidden fees or costs beyond the tuition and fees? There are no additional fees unless you're having to pay for books. But once you paid your tuition and fees, that covers pretty much all services, classes, etc., on all UTSA campuses. Are we permitted to use AI software to edit our assignments, such as Grammarly? Emily, did you want to?
Oof. Okay, so I know that there is a campus AI policy. I quite honestly am not familiar with it since I don't teach courses, how it interacts, like what the rules are there. But I know there are policies, and I would strongly suggest checking the campus AI policy before you use any kind of generative AI in your coursework. There's also Microsoft Copilot is available. It's a like kind of UTSA's generative AI tool. And I bet the policy would mention that as an option. But yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know all the answers to that one, but I know there are policies and that you want to be very careful.
Where do I go if I want to drop a class? The answer is
John,
ASAP.
I just.
Oh, yeah,
would
go
like
ahead.
to add on that, with Emily is, that's true, AI is one of the policy and there are so many new policies coming on AI. But Grammarly is other side is kind of acceptable, up to a level, not like you have to go through a whole thing. But I know all over UTSA and all over other institute, you can use Grammarly for your work. But again, check the rule, but Grammarly is kind of out of AI zone because it's not 100% AI.
Thank
I
you.
strongly would suggest to stay in touch with the professor and ask that question. I had one student who got in trouble with student conduct, and I went with them to their meeting because they were using Grammarly. So just make sure that you talk to your professor and check the syllabus, what they state about that.
Thank you, Sandra. Where do I go if I want to drop a class? The answer is ASAP. You can do that on ASAP. Let's see. For the use of the gym, do we need to sign up or be able to be able to use the facilities? The answer is no. You just have to have your student ID, which will get you into the gym. As long as you are a paying student, enrolled student, you will be able to use the gym facilities. Let's see. Will the GPA for the MBA be cumulative to our bachelor's or separate? It's going to be separate. So your GPA in a sense starts over. It doesn't continue from your bachelor's program. Okay. We got a thank you. Are the buildings Frio and Durango close to each other? Sorry, the reason I laugh is because those are both on the downtown campus, and the downtown campus is the buildings are very close to each other. So honestly, the Frio and the Durango are right next to each other, and I believe they're even connected. So yeah. So wait, is that the Durango or is that the no, that's the Buena Vista, but they're still right next to each other. There's three. Yeah, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I was just going to mention because it hasn't come up yet. There is a library on the downtown campus,
There is.
by the way.
In the
and
Buena Vista building.
In the Buena Vista building. Yes, that's where haven't been there in a while. But it's never crowded. So if you're looking for good study space in your downtown, highly recommend the downtown library. It's not open as late as the main library is, so you want to check the hours, but
Thank you. Who do I contact to check if military financial benefits have processed? You can either check with financial aid. I think you can also check with military, CMAS. military affairs services as well. Where can I get my student ID on the main campus? That link, oh, you already got that, thank you. I already, get rid of that. We got a thank you, and this is gonna be our last question, which is actually the last question. Sorry if this was answered already. I'm registered for classes full-time now for courses that are on my course plan, but I haven't spoken to anyone about them. Should I email the advisor or contact anyone about my classes I've registered for? If you just want confirmation that you can contact your advisor, you can also contact the representative for your college. If you're unsure who are, meaning the graduate program coordinator for your college, if you don't know who that is, you're welcome to shoot me an email separately, and I can get you in touch with the correct person. Just make sure to include what program you're in. I'll grab these quick. ASAP, you can find it on the link to it on the UTSA website, utsa.edu. You'll see a link under My UTSA, upper right-hand corner, and you'll be able to find the link to go directly to ASAP. And then I would bookmark it. Campus housing at this point, you'd be looking at off-campus housing. I don't believe they'd still be taking applications. Does anyone know? But I'm guessing because of where we are just starting the spring semester, you'd be looking at surrounding, like if you're looking at an apartment, something surrounding the UTSA campus, which there are ones very close that our UTSA shuttle does go to, some of them. But mostly those are on UTSA Boulevard. Some of them are on Chase Hill. So you just want to look at those. And everyone, that is, I'm going to call it there. That was the last question posted. I think this is the first time we've actually gotten to all questions. But of course, if you have any questions that go unanswered, you can please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll get you in touch with whoever on campus you need to be in touch with to get that question answered. Really appreciate our panelist time, Emily, and Campus Services, which I'm pretty sure your name is not Larissa, but I'm just Pranika, Sandra, and Martha, and also for the inputs from both Dr. Joshi and Tim. So thank you all. Have a wonderful first week and first semester in your graduate program. Again, remember, no classes on Monday. Make sure to check the weather for Tuesday as far as the modality for your courses, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.